Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Children. I hope you're safe and well. It's a sunny day here in Surrey, and the snow outside my window is melting away. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Nigel Skinner, who's head of marketing at Andrew Alliance, which is a waters company. And Nigel is going to be talking to me about the challenges that scientists and researchers face during this very difficult period in terms of maintaining productivity within their labs. So, Nigel, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, Rizwan. I mean, I have to say that I haven't got snow outside the window, but I guess that's the benefit of living in the southwest, right?
It
Rather
is.
than where you are.
Yeah, exactly. The Hawaii of England, we should say
Mm,
that.
that would be nice.
That would be, wouldn't it? Well, look, before we start talking about how researchers can maximize productivity within their labs, can you give people a quick overview of Andrew Alliance and your background as well?
Absolutely, yeah. So Andrew Alliance was founded 2011, and it was focused on the probably one of the biggest challenges in the industry, actually, and that's the problem of repeatability. Being able to repeat an experiment consistently in different labs, and that's kind of close to my heart. And if I think about my own background, since you ask about that, it takes me back to the days of doing research and actually doing quite a bit of pipetting. And all the challenges that come with the way that you hold a manual pipette. It's the workhorse, if you like, of many a life science lab, but it can also cause quite a few of the errors. And it was with that, in mind that Andrew Alliance was formed to tackle that problem by automating steps, reducing error, but also dealing with another aspect of pipetting, and that is, especially if you've got to do a lot of serial dilutions and concentration normalizations, very standard procedures, if you like, in many workflows,
Sure.
you can cause something called repetitive strain injury. And that has been, it's been a health and safety issue now for a number of years. So, with that in mind, being able to automate at the bench level, where we're focused, which is very much low to medium throughput, with an approach that's also highly versatile, has brought a great benefit to many a scientist in many labs. And that, if I were still doing research, I for sure would recognize that immediately, given that, often when you're doing research, you've got to be adapting things on the hoof, but you also need to be very precise in the timings of mixing different reagents in terms of, everything from the liquid handling to, of course, the weighing. And otherwise, maybe you'll realize quickly that you made mistakes, or maybe, unfortunately, downstream, those errors manifest and they waste a lot of time and effort. So anyway, that's what Andrew Alliance is focused on. And as I say, I've got a life science background, but over the last number of years, worked in the industry in business development and marketing. And as you point out, we were acquired by Waters at the beginning of last year, and it's been a fantastic and exciting journey together, especially during the harrowing and challenging times of COVID.
Well, let's talk about the harrowing times of COVID, because obviously the pandemic has impacted your customers, researchers, and scientists in how they can carry out their work now, with a lot of labs working with skeleton crews and other colleagues now working remotely. So, from your experience over the last year or so, what do you see as the main challenges scientists and researchers have faced in terms of carrying out what would have been their day-to-day workflows, out there?
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So you've got a number of different workflows for on the research side for developing vaccines. That could be involving PCR, next gen sequencing. For better understanding of the SARS-CoV-2 virus and, as we know, the different mutations of that virus. For developing a lot of the serological assays, it could be a variety of different immunoassay-based approaches for developing the lateral flow immunoassays that we're familiar with over the years, but of course, for that initial screen have been important as well for COVID-19. I think if you look behind the scenes, when companies were going into lockdown earlier last year, all of a sudden you find you've got a skeleton staff in your lab facilities, and you've got research leaders and research staff working from home.
Yeah.
And, on the one hand, put under increasing pressure to move projects forward at a speed we've never really seen before, right? I mean, as I think we all heard, vaccines can take 10 years or more to develop. But how do you develop one in less than a year? Now that we're seeing the rollout, it's pretty impressive. And again, assays too, diagnostic tests, also need to be accurate. You need to track the samples with precision to make sure you're reporting results, correctly. It needs to be done repeatably. And we're back in both cases, whether it's for developing vaccines or for developing diagnostics, to the importance of getting all aspects right. And, that includes liquid handling, but it also includes the practicalities of scale up. And when you talk scale up, you're often talking about, at some point, automation.
Yeah.
When you start to talk about automation, you're thinking about, how does a bench scientist, a biologist typically deal with that? Oftentimes, one of the challenges, one of the headaches can be the need to be competent in programming, but that's not so easy if you're working from home in isolation. So it's, there's a lot of challenges in there, actually. Out of challenges come solutions as well, which is, perhaps the upside of it all.
So have you got any sort of real world examples where you've had customers who've had those challenges and how you've overcome them?
I mean, one of those certainly was sparked, if you like. Well, the challenge was, if you go to one of the companies, we've provided a robot to Mammoth Biosciences, which is CRISPR-Cas9 company, a leader in the space, and has been actively working with GlaxoSmithKline on the development of a diagnostic. We supported them with our lab automation for developing an assay that was important to that program. And the challenge was, California went into lockdown last March, and a lot of staff had to work from home. And so, they realized that they needed some automation that could be set up remotely and not require somebody who was a whiz at programming to be able to adapt different protocols as required by the lead scientist, but that also had full traceability so that you could troubleshoot any problems that cropped up. And finally, that you could actually execute and monitor remotely as well. A big ask, but and funny enough, this is quite an interesting story. They saw a LinkedIn video of a couple of our sales team doing a demo where one of them was setting up the protocol using cloud native OneLab software, and the other had the robot. And at the moment of execution, the robot in the other location, which was miles and miles and miles away, came to life and actually ran that protocol. I think if memory serves right, it was a basic serial dilution, which is common actually to many of our customers' needs. But it made the point, here's a way you can quickly and easily scale up your experiments in a way that's very flexible, but also you can do it from the comfort of your own home. That probably sounds a bit worn at this point in time.
Brilliant. And I know you've got a webinar coming up on this. So where can people get more information, or when is the webinar?
So the webinar is on the 25th of February, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That's 4 o'clock Central European Time. It's focused around the topic of maintaining productivity during COVID-19. And, yes, we will certainly speak to ways in which, personal examples to us that have showcased the benefits of remote, of cloud-based lab automation, but it's far broader than that. We'll have a couple of guests I'd really like to highlight who'll be speaking more generally about what they see as both the benefits and challenges of applying lab automation during the COVID pandemic. Patrick Courtney, 20 years experience in the field, both microbiology and a robotics background, and previously worked for PerkinElmer and Sartorius, and done a lot of work in academia too. And also Isabella Baldini, who works for Dante Labs, a developer of diagnostics for COVID as well, sharing her perspectives about what she sees as being the opportunities and benefits afforded by lab automation. So it'll be, I think it'll be very useful. It's probably about 20 minutes of discussion and presentation and 10 minutes of Q&A. So yeah, I think very topical and very timely, actually.
Fantastic. Well, the link for that will be above the video. So I know you have to rush off to another meeting, Nigel, so I'm not going to keep you. But all I want to say is thank you very much for taking time out to talk today. It's lovely to see you again.
Good to see you too, Rizwan. Thank you.
Brilliant. So as Nigel says, if you would like to know more about how to improve the productivity in your lab, and just get other people's views and hear what other people are doing with lab automation in their labs, then please register for the webinar. The link will be above the video. You can also go to the Andrew Alliance website, which again, the link will be up there. Or you can message Nigel directly on LinkedIn or put a comment below the video. I'm sure Nigel will be delighted to answer your questions. So until next time, as always, stay well, stay safe, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.